A warm welcome to each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our session today, which is managing your VoIP phones remotely. For those of you who are familiar with MiRO, thank you for joining us on this series as well. And for those of you who are still new to MiRO, it is an excitement to see you in this webinar as well. We look forward to seeing you in our future webinars as well. If I may please ask each of us that whenever you have a question during our webinar, we will be doing a Q&A slight bit once we are done with the configurations. So on our chat panel, feel free to type your question anytime throughout the webinar. And then now and then I will go back to the chat panel and respond to your questions. Please feel free to type out your questions here as I have done, and I have sent everybody. So you will have the choice to either send to everybody or to particularly the host. And then I will try and answer all of those questions by the time we reach the end of today's webinars, so that we do not leave any stone unturned. Thank you one more time for joining this webinar. And in this series of webinars, we are going to be discussing managing your VoIP phones remotely. One of the reasons why remote management has become a very integral and important part of our networking is because it simplifies config and troubleshoot. It simplifies it in the sense that you no longer need to be physically directly next to the device for you to be able to push configurations to it, to provision the device, or to troubleshoot it, which is why as MiRO, we look at this type of technology and we realize that for our industry to become futuristic and to become relevant and to also add that ease of config to also add that ease of configuring, it is important for us to focus on such technologies that enable us to do so with our VoIP setups. Please be aware that we will be doing a two-part series of this webinar. The first part is the one that we are doing today. And in the next series, we will be doing exactly the same title, Managing Your VoIP Phones Remotely, but we will just be covering completely different brands from the ones that we are dealing with today, as this is mainly a voice technology based webinar, which we are looking to cover all of the brands that we offer to you for voice. May I please find out if all of you are able to see my screen as I'm sharing? Please just type it out for me in the chat whether you can see my screen or not. Okay, I have a response from Wally. Ah, perfect. Carl says you can see my screen. Oh, thank you. I'm glad each of you can see my screen. We are just going to do a quick intro to MiRO for some of us who are not familiar with the MiRO brand. MiRO is basically a brand that is centered around empowering our buying partners and our family of customers to connect their communities. How we basically do this is with a holistic service model, whereby MiRO does not just give you a product, but rather we provide a suite of services to give you the necessary support and the know-how for you to utilize that product to add value to your business and to your customers' business. So what we basically do is we have the capacity to assist you creating the entire solution for your deployment. We start with you from the planning stage, pre-sales. We start with you from the planning stage of the initial project so that you may choose the right products that are relevant for your solution. Whether that solution is Wi-Fi, whether it is a broadband solution for point and point to multi-point, whether it is a mobility solution, LTE solutions, and even infrastructure on things such as masts, bolts, cabling for your networking infrastructure, and cages and so forth, and even cabinets where you store your networking equipment on live sites. We also assist with things such as VoIP, security, networking, fiber, and our side of IoT. So whichever solution that you are currently planning that you need assistance, we are able to step in with you from the onset to say, what type of solution is this? What would you like your outcome to be? What type of service level agreement are you looking to give? How can we add value from the planning stages? And in addition to this, we also have our own in-house technical support. The reason is so that we do not give you a product and leave you with it, but rather we work with you and support you throughout the entire life cycle of your product. And this is part of our customer service model. We have trained personnel in-house that are able to give telephonic uh, support. They're able to give support via email, and in certain times they are able to team viewer in to assist you with certain configs and troubleshooting. And we now even have on-site support where we can send a technician to your site to assist with certain classes of our products. And we also are a keeper of legal compliances and regulatory certificates. The reason why we do this is to ensure that every single product that moves from MiRO's shelves to your hands, to your customers, is type approved to legally operate within the South African environment in order to ensure that there are no hassles coming to your deployments and also your customers' deployments with regards to legal compliance. MiRO also offers financing solutions for your project as well as your client's projects that are tailor-made to fit your requirements. So how this basically works is you are able to approach us as MiRO and say, I have a large project coming up. I'm not able to fund the entire project from scratch. So I will require assistance with a certain amount based off of a certain equipment that I'm going to be using for this project. And we are able to sit down with you and draft a financing plan of how you can pay off that equipment over the suitable amount of time based on your needs and the needs of your business. We additionally offer certified and introductory courses that deal with the type of technologies that we retail. We have on-site training, which is located at our branches, and we also have off-site training where we can train either at your premises or at your client's premises. And we are also able to partner with our buying partners if they would like to host a particular training that MiRO certifies. We are able to partner with you and come and send the trainer to your premises or to your place of preference to go and train the particular team of people that you would like to get trained up on that particular technology. And just to share a little bit with you on the MiRO footprint, MiRO has been in the industry for way over 15 years now. We are a level 3 BEE company as part of the Hudeco group, and we sell and distribute over 35 different countries in the SADC region. We have 4 branches that are conveniently located in Nelspruit, our Durban branch, our Cape Town branch, and our HQ at Gauteng in Samrand. We have a staff of over 170 in total who are very efficient in their roles for your assistance. And we have in excess of over 2,000 sales items in our catalog, with 95% of our orders being shipped out exactly the same day that those orders are placed. And one interesting stat that we like to share in the company is that every single 14 seconds of the day, we are shipping out a product for a new order. And recently, we just hit 1 million sales online. So for those of you who haven't yet tested out our online platform, go to www.miro.co.za and just test out the buying suite on there to simplify it for those of you who like to shop from the convenience of your own space. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for this MiRO info. Let's get started with what is on today's menu. So basically, what is on today's menu, we are dealing with managing your VoIP phones remotely. While dealing with managing your VoIP phones remotely, we are going to be doing a 2-part series of this. So if there is any brand that you are not going to see in this webinar that you have purchased from MiRO, do not fret. In the next session, we are going to be covering additional brands that are not covered in this webinar. So today we are basically going to be looking at the GDMS cloud service, which is a free cloud service that you can sign up on to particularly manage all of your Grandstream endpoints that you purchase from MiRO. One of the reasons why this is a very useful tool for networkers and for live deployment is I'm going to show you just a brief live demo on some of the access that you have to your live equipment using this GDMS cloud tool. And another addition to this is it is a completely free tool. You're not going to be charged for anything at all on GDMS when it comes to managing your VoIP phones. So one of the first things I would like us to look at is you will have the ability to monitor the stats of what is going on in all of the phones that you have added to your GDMS cloud. You will have the ability to configure. You will have the ability to troubleshoot live as long as there is layer 3 routed connectivity between your VoIP phone and either your PC or your cell phone, because you can also log onto your GDMS using your cell phone and troubleshoot or configure from anywhere. You are also able to set up live notifications for every single piece of equipment or for every site that you have configured under the GDMS cloud, so that it gives you live notifications when anything happens within your functional network. So for just some quick product overviews, the GDMS service is not compatible with every single model of our Grandstream phones. The supported series are your GRP 2600 series, which is the newest series from Grandstream. We have the GRP 2601 series and the GRP 261 series as well. We also support the GXP 2100 series of mid-level phones. We support the GXV series of video phones, which are Android based, and they are able to run applications such as Microsoft Teams and Zoom directly on those phones. We also support the DECT series. Those of you who are users of Grandstream DECT are very familiar with things such as the DP722, the DP730, and the DP720. We also do support the WP820 and WP810 Wi-Fi phones that are both dual band Wi-Fi phones, with the WP810 being an 802.11ac Wi-Fi phone. Those are also supported in our GDMS cloud. Then just to give you a quick recap on what we've just said, our Wi-Fi cordless phones are supported for remote management on GDMS. The DECT cordless range is also supported for remote management. Our RP series of carrier grade IP phones and Essential series IP phones are also supported on GDMS, and the GXP series we support particularly the 2100 series. If there is any model that you are not certain about, that you are maybe intending to try out or to purchase and would like to manage remotely, please do get in touch with me if you need to, and I will make any information available that I have access to. My email is hoto@miro.co.za. You don't only necessarily need to mail me just regarding Grandstream or regarding GDMS. I'm the overall VoIP PM at MiRO. So ask me any VoIP related questions, and I believe I'll be able to make available to you the correct information that we have access to. So now I'm going to quickly switch you over to, I'm going to switch my screen over to our GDMS that I have opened up, just to sort of give you a nice brief run through of what exactly do we deal with when we say we are dealing with GDMS. And those of you who haven't yet opened a free GDMS account, if you are using GDMS, if you are using any Grandstream equipment at all for VoIP, please try opening a completely free account on gdms.cloud and add 1 or 2 devices, and then you will be able to see exactly the type of utilities that we are dealing with on managing our IP phones remotely. So I have just switched my screen so that it can share my Chrome tab instead of sharing my presentation. Can I please quickly check with you if everybody can see my GDMS with device statuses and the dashboard. May I please quickly just get confirmation? Is anyone able to see the current tab that I'm sharing? It should have device status, account status, and device statistics with a dashboard there at the top. Awesome. Thank you, Ray and Michael. I see that everybody can see my tab. So basically what I'm going to show you here is some of the utility that you have access to when you are using the GDMS Cloud. By the way, for those of us who do not know, GDMS Cloud is a completely free cloud service made available by Grandstream, and it is able to manage most of their VoIP phones rather, because there are certain of the GXP series that are not supported, such as the 1615, which is a very common model, the 1625, which is a very common entry-level model as well. But the 2100 series, the GRP series, the DP series, and the Wi-Fi phones are all supported for onboarding onto GDMS. Currently, I am of the belief that once we get sufficient queries on the earlier GXP series, especially the more common models, we will see the platform being upgraded to start supporting those models. So what I'm basically going to show you is, I would like us to sort of keep this brief so that I do not take up too much of your time. When you look at your dashboard on our left-hand side here, you have a part where it says VoIP device. So under VoIP device, you are able to click there and it will show you your live VoIP devices that you have already added, and it will show you what you have done on them. Before I go into any configs, I would just like to show you how easy it is to add a device onto this thing. So basically, to add a new VoIP device, you go down to VoIP devices on the left-hand tab and then click on Add Device. Once you click on Add Device, it is going to ask you for you to give that device a name. Then after giving that device a name, it'll ask you for the MAC address of that device and the serial number of that device. One of the reasons why you will get the query of the MAC address and the serial number of that device is to ensure that you have either seen the physical device, or you have the box of the device with you, or you have at least taken a picture of the device. Most of Grandstream's phones have a MAC address, they have a serial number and a part number printed out on the box, and they also have those details on a sticker at the back of the phone. So please, if it is a phone that you're going to be shipping off before configuring, please make sure that you either obtain a picture of the box or obtain a picture of the back sticker on the phone so you can have access to these details to add it to your account. Please also be aware that in order to add a device to GDMS, the device does not have to be in your physical proximity. It just has to be on a network that has access to the internet, and you also have to be on a device that has access to the internet. You can literally add a device from anywhere in the world once you have met that criteria. Then what I would quickly like us to look at is you're going to get an overview of all of your available devices, and it will also give you your device statuses. It will tell you whether your devices are offline, whether they are online or behaving abnormally. And it will also specify, are these audio devices? In case it's a video phone, it will specify it as a video device. And then you are also able to see the total devices that are added, and also the total accounts that you have created to allocate to those devices. Another additional feature that is a bit useful is you can always click on device distribution, and it will give you a live map of where all of your devices are located. Remember, this is a service that you can use to onboard phones from anywhere in the world, as long as those phones have an internet connectivity. So wherever your phones are located, it will show you the representation on the map there. You are able to toggle over it, or rather hover over it, to get a bit more in-depth detail. Then once we return to our dashboard, one more thing I would like to show you is your model statistics. Because you're going to be using multiple models of phones, it is able to show you what particular models of phones you are using. And that is important in instances where you want to do things such as batch firmware upgrades, where you would like the GDMS to upgrade all of the firmware on a particular model. This is where those statistics come in handy. And then let's go directly to the device just so we can see what you can do once the device has been added. So the idea behind this is that you should be able to purchase a device, keep the MAC address and the serial number, and ship it off to a client site anywhere in the world. And once it gets an internet connection, you are able to configure it remotely without having to lay a hand on the device itself, and without also needing your client to either log into the web GUI or do anything to the device. How do we do this? On every available device, you will have your account configuration. Your account configuration is where you can allocate things such as extension numbers and so forth that you have pre-created in your GDMS Cloud or that you have pulled out from your PBX. In addition to that, you are also able to do some more in-depth setting on your parameters. Your parameters will basically allow you to set anything and everything that you would like to customize about that particular device. You can do your call settings here. You can set a ringtone. You can do distinctive ringtones. You can check your incoming caller IDs in order to match it to the particular extension. You can even enable more advanced things such as your call features for call monitoring in terms of intercom badging, anonymous call rejection, and auto answer, and so forth. You have quite a lot of functionality that you can set on this device while it is not in the physical proximity. And then you can additionally do your SIP settings here, where you will basically select your SIP registration authorizations and so forth, and to also be able to change things such as the particular codecs that you prefer for certain model of phones if you would prefer to do so. You're also able to enable things such as SIP over TLS in order to run protected frames of your SIP so that your calls become virtually unhackable. And then you can do quite a lot of other features. One more thing that I wanted to show you here is your codec settings. You can do this directly from your GDMS on either a per phone basis, or you can even do it on a group of phones, or you can do it on a site basis. What I mean by site is on your GDMS, you are able to configure multiple sites here under organizations. You can create different organizations and also have subdivisions of different departments or branches under them that you can push configurations to a large number of devices at the same time. And then in addition to this, we can move over to our settings tab to see what you have access to there. You can literally set on the network settings as well, or whether you're using IPv4, IPv6, whether you want to fix a DHCP address for that particular model to make it much easier to manage. You're also able to do Bluetooth settings on models that have Bluetooth. The current model I'm using is the 2614, which is one of the reasons why you will see these settings. You can also configure things such as your Wi-Fi settings and OpenVPN. So what we were basically trying to get us to see here is this. There is no utility that you would need to set up on a VoIP phone that has not been made available on this GDMS service. We've gone all the way down to your handset's transmitter gain, especially if it is in the terms of it increasing the gain for your volume in decibels or decreasing the gain in your volume for your decibels. You are able to manage each and every one of these settings parameters that we have mentioned here over the cloud as soon as the phone has been added. And another thing you can do is, in addition to this, your contact integration. If you're running a phone book already on an XML, you are able to integrate an LDAP phone book into your GDMS and give the particular models access to the server address of that phone book, or allow any phone that you select for it to do so. And you can even download contacts directly onto GDMS so that your phones can access them from there. In addition to this, you have your maintenance tab. This is where you will be doing things such as auto provision if you need to from a third-party server, such as 3CX perhaps. You can also select when the regularity of your firmware upgrades and provisioning. You can select whether your phone should automatically check and upgrade, and at what intervals should it check and upgrade. You can go down all the way to setting the particular hour and day where the phone must do those particular upgrades so as to not disturb an actively running network. And you also have things such as, one more thing I wanted to show us before ending the webinar is on the diagnostics field. On your diagnostic fields, you are able to put in the MAC address of any particular unit that you've already added. Remember that that MAC address will be listed here. You are able to take that MAC address and go down to diagnostics and put it in there. The idea being that once you start diagnostics, it will run a packet capture on whatever that phone is doing to try and give you the ability to troubleshoot any errors that may be occurring either in your codecs or in your SIP or on the connections end. And then you are also able to do what we call task scheduling. Task scheduling is important because remember, you will not be doing these functions from a phone that is physically at your location. So depending on the different types of location that you are scheduling tasks for, you can add a task here. And after adding a task, you can actually specify which devices that are under your networks that this task must apply to. And once you have done that, the nice feature about this is you can switch over to scheduling, and you can schedule the specific day and the specific time at which that task must be run. This is to help you with scenarios where you would like to perhaps reboot a certain phone so that changes should take effect, but you don't necessarily want to reboot it any time of the day when users are still busy with that endpoint. But you would prefer to schedule that task and then have it run at a time where you know that the network is at its less busiest. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like us to stop here for today because that was quite a mouthful. That was quite a mouthful, and I've tried to just show you a brief overview of all of these functionalities. There are much more that we can cover in more better depth. Please do not hesitate to send me any queries at all that you might have about either these models of phones or about any of our VoIP product lines at MiRO. And before we shut off the webinar, I promised that we were going to do a Q&A. So let me quickly see if there are any questions. Okay, I have a question from Michael. And Michael basically says, is this service completely free? No limit on the number of phones? Michael, thank you for that question. It's a two-part answer type of question. So currently you and me are dealing with VoIP phones. So currently, yes, this service is completely free, and you are not going to be limited on the number of phones that you can add. The only thing I would like you to look out for is this. You can add a site and add sub-sites under it. Basically, let's say you add MiRO and you add Durban branch, you add marketing, you add front desk, you add sales. There is a bit of a soft cap on how many sub-departments you can add on a single site. But the number of phones are completely uncontrolled. You can add any number of phones. And yes, that part of this is completely free. The second part of the answer is this. You can also add the UCM series of cloud-hosted VoIP PBXs onto your GDMS account. When adding those, they automatically are allocated a beta plan that you use for completely free. But only on upgrading when you are adding a PABX, then you will be charged a certain amount annually for adding your voice PBXs. But that will mainly be for you to use things such as remote connect. Let me quickly give you a quick show while we are still logged on here. When we go to UCMRC, that UCMRC feature, it says UCM device. So what this allows you to do is add a PBX, and then after adding a PBX, you can then deploy remote workers on PCs, deploy remote workers on smartphones, deploy remote workers on IP phones without having to configure any firewall exceptions, without having to do any port forwarding, because what this will basically do, the UCM Remote Connect service, is it will function as a net traversal tool that will allow all of your IP phones to connect back into the PBX securely by using SIP over TLS. So only for that part do you start getting things such as plans and services, as you can see there. But for your VoIP devices, this will be completely free, and you can add any number of VoIP phones. Michael, did I answer you sufficiently on that one? Alrighty, thank you, Michael. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am open to take one or two more questions just before we close it off. I have answered Michael's question. Do we have any other question at all? Even if it's not necessarily relating to the VoIP phones that we have discussed, or the tool that we have discussed, but the entire brand itself in particular. Do we have any other questions regarding that? Alrighty, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this webinar. And as I've said to you, this is a two-part webinar, so we will be hosting part 2 very soon to cover different brands that we have not covered in this webinar. I will be emailing you invites to that, and we will also have a mystery prize up for grab on that one, just to make it more fun for everybody here. So one more thing I would like to say is we are hosting these webinars on IP Video Talk. IP Video Talk is a free webinar and meeting cloud service that you can use without any cost on the basic account. Please try it out on ipvideotalk.com. If you would like just to test it out, you are not going to have to pay anything. There are no charges attached to it. It's a very nifty tool where you can share videos, you can share presentations, you can even have live client meetings with anybody around the world as long as they have access to the internet. Thank you so much for joining this webinar, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in our next webinar, where we will be covering other VoIP models of phones that we retail in-house at MiRO that support cloud configuration. And I will also be giving you a brief demo of that cloud platform and showing you what we can do from there. I look forward to seeing you in our next webinars, ladies and gentlemen. Do have an awesome afternoon further.